exciting episode of As the River Churns.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Happy Thursday to you. Hard to believe we're coming down to the end of March.
I know, this is crazy.
Let's see, that would make today the 26th today?
Yes.
Wow, it's hard to believe. We're getting towards the end of March. And we got our special weekly guest with us again today, Ken.
Yeah.
Nice to have you.
Glad to be here.
And I think we decided we're going to wait at least another week before we have you come as anybody else at this point, right?
Yes, yeah. Billy Bob is rounding up the cattle. Be finished by next week.
Well, that's awesome. So we'll be looking forward to talking to Billy Bob next week then.
Very good.
So I think we wanted to start out, well, first of all, I think we need to talk about those photos. And Ken, you said you thought you had one of those photos. Is that, or you had one of those haircuts? Is that right?
Yeah, I did, absolutely.
Yeah.
I know I had one.
Yeah. You know,
Actually, 3 or 4 of those.
when I was growing up, I never got my hair cut, so I looked like Cousin It for a while there, if you all remember the Addams Family. So it was, but that was the way it was back in those days.
It was. Dorothy Hamill haircut. That was very popular for
Dorothy
girls.
Hamill haircut, yeah,
Yes.
I remember that.
Yep.
Gosh.
And I want to thank Barbara Curran for submitting that picture for us
Yeah,
today.
that was pretty
so
neat.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, we were going to try and have you all do a little contest to see if you could guess who those residents are. But that would have been kind of mean because those aren't any of our residents. So we decided not to do that. Well, what is our trivia question for today?
Okay, the trivia question for today is from John Hoyt. What is the only country that spans 2 continents? So what is the only country that spans 2 continents? And Michelle is ready to answer the phone here, so call 336-389-4103 if you have the answer. And yesterday we were stumping everybody, so I'm hoping we get some callers today. 336-389-4103. Looks like Michelle just got her first call.
Wow.
Okay,
And it's
it's
not
coming in quick.
It's not Darth Vader, I can tell
It's
you.
not Darth Vader.
That was yesterday's answer. So.
Oh, it was kind of sad yesterday. We only had 1 caller.
Fortunately, they had the right answer.
Well, that's true.
Yes.
You're right.
So, Lisa, why don't you show everybody what they're going to get?
Oh,
what the winning's going to be.
It's a special day today. The winner will receive a River Landing cooler bag, which is great for takeout, going to the grocery store. And inside of here we have paper towel. Of course, we had to do toilet paper.
Toilet paper, of course.
A box of Kleenex.
Oh, yes.
And a wonderful River Landing car shade.
Yes.
That you put in your windshield.
Those things are great, but I've noticed when I put one out in my car, I can never get it folded back.
It never gets back to this.
That always looks so great. So
it does. Yeah. It's a challenge.
Do those things, if you wrap them around you, protect you from coronavirus?
That hasn't been proven yet, but
okay.
That's quite possible.
I know that the tinfoil hats keep you from getting radiation from outer space.
Of course, yes.
You could be our test subject.
Oh, I love that.
We could try that next week.
I love that.
That would be great.
I love this prop.
Oh, we didn't do the...
We forgot to turn it
We forgot about the hourglass.
Is it time to turn it?
Ken, can you help me?
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you, Ken.
Like sand in the hourglass. So are the days of our lives.
That was... As the river churns, right? Isn't that kind of... Well, anyway. What have you. Well, let me do a quick little update on the coronavirus. Again, most of you probably are watching the TV and keeping up with the events. I'm going to concentrate my efforts today on my conversation about what's going on here in North Carolina. Last results that I have, and again, I pull these from the Department of Health and Human Services for North Carolina. North Carolina cases were at 636 out of 12,910, and that's right around that 5% mark like I was sharing yesterday of how many positive cases there were to tests that were completed. And unfortunately, I'm sure you all heard yesterday that we had our first 2 deaths here in North Carolina, and our condolences go out to the families of those 2 folks. And then, of course, you heard here yesterday, and you probably saw it on TV as well, that Guilford County, along with the mayors from both Greensboro and High Point, have put out a mandate about stay at home, which will start at 5 p.m. tomorrow. And quite honestly, we're still kind of working on what our response is going to be to that. I do want to assure you that, quite honestly, we are already doing a lot of the things that would normally have had to have been done if we, with the stay-at-home thing, if we hadn't been doing them already. So I don't think you're going to see a ton of changes from our part. Probably the biggest one was one I was talking about yesterday, which is we're trying to still figure out ways to compartmentalize our residents. We've done this with staff already, and we're continuing to do it with staff. But for the residents, we want the outside residents to really not have any real reasons to have to come into the building. There's a couple of them, Lisa, that we know we can't get around.
Right.
If somebody has to come into the clinic, we know that a resident will have
Correct.
to come into the clinic and come into the building for the clinic. And we also realized yesterday that the bank was another one of those things that we can't get around that.
Our whole goal is just limiting that exposure and limiting the
That
reasons
is
to come
correct.
inside.
You know, we're just trying to kind of, again, just try not to have a ton of places where residents are going by and seeing each other and gathering. And so, you know, this is our approach to that by I can't say the word
I
today.
can't either. So.
Compartmentalizing the residents as well. And so we're going to probably have more information tomorrow, and then we're going to be putting something out on CareMerge tomorrow about that compartmentalizing. I don't think you're going to see any real changes from our dining program and what we're doing, other than the fact that we know we're going to be doing the grab and go for the outside folks. That's going to be a big one. So stay tuned for more for that information. Let's see. Are you going to talk about our Back to the Basics box? I think
Sure.
we started
Yes.
that program.
So we rolled out the box program that we advertised yesterday, and we're calling it Back to the Basics. So it's a box that's Back to the Basics, which has your proteins, your vegetables, your fruits, milk, orange juice, bread, the basics. So that was rolled out today. It's on CareMerge, I believe, already. And also it's in your in-house boxes for folks that don't use CareMerge. And you're going to call Whitney if you're interested in ordering one of those boxes. And you order it by 11 a.m. on Monday to receive the box on Wednesday, and we will deliver it to your home once it gets here. And then if you want to order one for Friday, you'll order at 11 a.m. on Wednesday by then. So all that's written out for you on the information, on the flyer. We've already had, I think, 4 or 5 orders.
Oh, that's
And
awesome.
it just went out probably an hour ago.
So that's super.
Yep.
Yeah, it looks like it's a pretty good deal.
It's a great deal. I don't know that I could even buy that in the grocery store for the price that we're offering it for.
So Lisa, I think we want to do a reminder about calling in for food orders, about the times. Is that right?
Yes. So just as a reminder, we do have times when you call in for lunch and dinner. And I know it's hard to remember those times that's not what we're used to doing here, but we really need your help in sticking with those times. We're serving a lot of folks here for meals, and we just really need to keep to that. So please call your food orders in between the designated times. I believe for lunchtime, it's between 9 and 11, and supper time, it's 1 and 3. So just please stick to those times for us. That will help us be able to kind of control this volume and be able to serve everyone. And we are also asking you to stick to the pickup times as well. That I know it's hard some folks are having to eat their meal maybe a little earlier than normal. We are taking a look to see if we can adjust those times any. But at this point, it is pickup times from 4 to 6, and our folks will give you the pickup time. Once again, we are managing a lot of orders coming in.
We are, but we recognize also, I think when we talk about maybe a possible change, it really would only be with the pickup time, possibly for dinner,
Right,
I think.
right.
Because we know 4 o'clock is kind of early for
Right.
folks.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to bear with us. As much as you would like to be able to tell us when you're going to pick them up,
Right.
that doesn't work in our system
Right.
yet. And now
Yeah.
we might get to that point at some point, but we're not there yet. So, you know, when you leave and when you get are in conversation with our folks and giving your order, they're going to tell you when to pick it up. And for right now, please, we're asking you to kind of bear with us while we keep getting our system down. And we're going to have some mistakes, and we're going to have things that are going to happen. We've already heard of a couple mistakes that
Sure.
have happened. And, you know, it's mistakes by residents, but it's also mistakes by staff. And so please just kind of bear with us as we kind of get through this and get into a routine with this. And
Right.
I think it'll get easier, and we'll keep
I do
tweaking
too.
it.
This is our first week, really.
It is, and we're still
getting
tweaking
into
it.
it.
I
are.
promise you,
We
we're
are.
still tweaking it. So
Absolutely.
so please just bear with us. But I know Whitney was very excited because I think the Instacart is going
Instacart
really
is going
well.
great. I think we've at least had 15 plus today. just since this morning at 10 o'clock, so that's going great. You know, if we've had a couple little hiccups, which we're working through, that's why Whitney's heading up this program. She's also helping folks that maybe aren't as tech savvy, so don't forget that. Whitney is available to put in orders for you. You just need to give her a call, and she'll ask you what your list is, and she'll enter it in for you. So all those kind of things we can do right over the phone too. We're, you know, we're trying to limit that social contact. It's hard for our community because we're such a social community. But we're just trying to protect each other, our employees and our residents. So anything that you can do over the phone, we really recommend calling. Give us a call. It's hard not to see you all stop in because we love that. But during these times, give us a call, email us, however, to communicate that. The front desk is doing some things to be able to help with that as well, so you don't have to come down to the front desk. You can call Dana during the week, Monday through Friday. She'll be down there during the day. There's a lot of things she can do for you right over the telephone. That way it can save you a stop from having to come in.
You know, and another thing that we want you all to really be looking out for is, it seems terrible to me that this happens, but in times like this where the country is in a little bit of a crisis as we're dealing with this virus, the scam artists are out there to the hilt. So please, when you get phone calls in or you get stuff on your computer, really censor it really well. You know, that grandmother, grandfather one where they're calling and I think it's their son is stuck in a foreign country and needs money to be able to get out. That's a huge scam, and we've had a couple residents get caught on that.
We have, and they're still doing that during the virus. They're actually using the virus as part of the reason they're calling too.
Using the virus as part of that initiative. So please, if it doesn't sound right, it probably isn't. And so, you know, if you really have to, if you're really concerned about something, ask for a name and a phone number to get back to, and then call us. And we'll tell you whether or not we think it's a scam or not, and we can help you with that. So don't get caught in the middle. Please don't give out your credit card information or your social security number or your driver's license number. Nobody should be calling you and asking you those things right now. So please don't get caught up in those.
And don't act on anything. Talk to someone else first before you would act on anything.
And I will tell you, those scammers are really convincing. So please be careful. I know I had one call me about a year ago and told me I won the sweepstakes thing, and I was going to win a Mercedes-Benz and $25,000 or something. And I said, yeah, that sounds too good to be true, and I hung up on them. So just hang up on those folks when they do that, because there's no reason for you to spend any time thinking about that. And remember, if it's too good to be true, it's too good to be true. It's not real. So
somebody called me the other night and offered free turn-down service. Online turn-down service.
That's great.
Yeah.
Did you take him up on it?
Well, I thought about it because I love somebody to turn my sheets down.
Yeah.
But then when he said he would do it online, I thought, that sounds a little fishy.
Yeah, it does sound a little fishy. I'm not sure how they would accomplish that.
I don't either. I hung up.
Good for you. Good. I'm glad you did that, Ken.
And we have a couple tips that we're going to be putting up on CareMerge related to the virus scams, things to be looking for. So tips to recognize and avoid the emails. Beware of online requests for personal information. That's good for any time, not just the virus time. But anybody that's looking for your personal information, they do not need it over your email. You can check the email address or link by just hovering your mouse over the top of that email. Sometimes you will see it's being directed to another funny place from there. It's not actually going to the place it's initially telling you. So you can hover over that email. Watch for spelling and grammatical mistakes. You would be surprised how many times there is spelling errors in these emails. That's a sure sign right there. Something that's professional coming out is not going to have those kind of errors. So be looking for that. Look for generic greetings, dear sir or madam. They don't know you. So that's another hint right there. That's somebody that's just trying to bring you in. Avoid emails that insist you act now. Or things that say we have a cure for this. There is not a cure for this. So,
no, as a matter of fact,
but there's emails out there that are saying we have a cure for this. Buy this pill.
Yeah,
and that's not legitimate.
I saw a story about a gentleman in California that was just arrested for trying to get people to invest in his company because he has pills that have a cure for the coronavirus.
That kind of stuff is out there. So And then another thing people ask, where can I find legitimate information? So that's the other part of this. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, so the CDC website, that's a good place to go. Also, the World Health Organization, that's another place that you can have legitimate information, and National Institutes of Health. So we're going to put some of this up on CareMerch for you as well, but just wanted to give you some tips today, recognizing the scams.
Yeah, and maybe just the last thing for the update is that we had somebody ask us about greeting cards and about being able to get greeting cards. And so
Yes.
I think next week we might ask Scooter Nance to actually come on the show for a couple minutes. His daughter actually has a business for greeting cards that she runs out of her home, and you can get them online.
Yep.
And the nice thing is there probably wouldn't be any kind of shipping or delivery fee,
Exactly.
because I'm sure
Scooter could bring them in for us.
here. So
And they're beautiful. Her cards are gorgeous.
yeah,
So,
they are gorgeous. So
yeah.
we'll try and have some information about that if you all are interested in that. We'll try and get Scooter to come on next week. So Lisa, I think we're going to do some questions, and we got a lot of
Okay,
questions.
we have a
right?
lot today, and I tried to condense some of them. We had some repeating questions. So, can I use Instacart from a computer, or do I have to have a smartphone to use this service? This person had a flip phone, so that's why they were asking
Sure.
that. They weren't sure if they could use a computer. And yes, you can use a computer or a smartphone. So either one would be fine. A tablet probably as well. So anywhere that you can get that internet access.
That's the key, isn't it? It's just having internet access.
Absolutely. Can you address why some of our residents and staff are wearing masks?
Yeah.
Do we have a case here?
Yeah, so we have always said that we'd be very honest with you, and the honest truth is we do not have a case here that we know of at the moment. But we have some areas, like the security area in the front. It was actually pointed out by a resident, which I thought was really great, that a resident recognized this, that with all the contact at the front, the people at the front are having with folks coming into campus, and how close they have to get to them to screen them and do the temperatures, that the suggestion was, shouldn't they have face masks? And we decided that was really a good thought and good suggestion, so we have put that into place. And quite honestly, I think we have some residents, and I know we have some staff members who are just feeling a little uncomfortable being exposed, period. And so, just as a precaution for them, they have decided to wear face masks or gloves. And so yes, there are some folks that are actually wearing them. You'll see some folks wearing them, but please do not fear. We do not have a case here. And if we do, then we will tell you that, and we'll talk to you about how we're going to handle that if and when we have that happen.
Okay. Next one, will the regular housekeeping schedule resume next week, starting on Monday, March 30th?
So that's a great question. And so the answer to that is no, it will not start again next week. We have still trying to figure out ways to be able to keep housekeepers safe going into your homes, and quite honestly, more importantly, and I'm not trying to downplay the staff, but trying to keep you safe from housekeepers who are still out in the general public and come to work every day. And so we are working on an idea that we haven't gotten completely figured out yet, but we may be able to do something or present something next week that might help in the intermediate time frame between now and the time we can actually start up the housekeeping services again. But as of right now, we still haven't figured out exactly a way to be able to do that and protect both the residents and staff. So, and the stay-at-home order kind of also played into that as well, that decision that kind of made our decision for us. But we were hopeful. We got an out-of-the-box thought that we're working on, and we'll see if we can make it come to fruition.
Going with that, we had someone ask, can we just have common cleaners sitting in a certain area that we could borrow? And I think we talked about that. That's the contamination of bottles going from home to home.
Yeah.
Probably not the right answer at this point to be able to offer that.
Yeah. I don't know how to do that and keep that equipment. I mean, because that's, to me, if a resident's using it in one home and then they put it back out there, another resident using it and they're touching the same things,
and some might clean it off and some might not.
It just doesn't work, I think.
Right.
It's a great idea. It just doesn't work, unfortunately, for us. So
we're still working through some things.
We still got to come up with some ideas on how to fix that. So, and we understand that that's an issue.
Okay. Next one I thought was an interesting question. Are you sanitizing packages that are being delivered to River Landing?
Yes, so at our loading dock area, when stuff is coming in, we're sanitizing it
Right,
as best
right.
we can. Kind of hard to do that to newspapers, though.
Well, it is. So that was a question as well of how do we get our newspapers? How do you sanitize a newspaper?
Yeah, you can't
You
can't
really
sanitize
can't.
a newspaper.
Right.
That's right.
Um,
And so we're working on a system whereby we're not ready yet, but we think we're going to start this next week, where the outside homes, the delivery person can still continue to drop off the papers and throw them. I don't know. I assume they throw them onto the porches is what they're doing.
Right.
It's a little bit different issue for our folks that live inside the community building. And our thought is that we are trying to come up with a system where the papers could just be delivered to us, and then one of our staff members would be delivering the papers each morning. So we're coming up with that plan. I really think we'll have that in place sometime the beginning of next week.
Right. And to be honest, if you are concerned about that, you may want to put your paper on hold too.
Yes, that's
so
right.
that you don't have to stop your paper completely, but you could put it on hold if it's a concern of yours. And we understand that some folks have done that. And
Yeah, and most papers have an online paper. So
True.
if you've never tried it before, you can go onto the internet and to
Absolutely.
the High Point Enterprise, News and Record. They all have online papers, so
They
you
do.
could actually go there and get your information. So.
Yep. Another one here, are the other PHI facilities taking the same precautions as we are?
Yeah, I'm having about an every other day phone call with our sister communities and with friends' homes, and we are all talking through best practices at this point, and we've all been learning a little bit from each other. Not to brag, but quite honestly, I think we have done, we're a little bit advanced of what our sister communities are doing, but they're quickly catching up to us with the stuff that we're doing here. I'm just going to pay tribute to where tribute needs to be paid. We have an excellent team here who has been meeting on a regular basis, and we've been thinking through a lot of these scenarios up front so that we have been well prepared for making these changes as we felt like we need to. And so I find myself a lot telling the other communities what we're doing and them going, well, that's a good idea. We need to think about doing that. And so it's kind of nice to be able to have that.
It's been a compliment.
And I don't want to make it sound one-sided. They've had some really good ideas at some of the other communities as well, our sister communities, that we've adopted because we like what they're doing too. So,
Good collaboration.
yeah. Are we down to Ken?
Yes.
Well,
I can.
somebody asked me a question. They said, is it normal to feel lonely during these times? And I said, well, absolutely, of course. One out of 5 people feel lonely.
Sure.
And so if you're home feeling lonely, just know that there are 4 other people someplace else having a really good time.
That's a lot of help, Ken. Thanks a lot. What's funny about that is, you all know that I've been living here at River Landing, so I'm thinking, Ken's going to have some really good information for me while I'm in the guest suite or in the staycation, and I'm like all ears. I'm like,
And he's gonna
thanks
make
a
you
lot,
feel better,
Ken.
and-
Yeah, he didn't make me feel better at all. Let me tell you.
Okay, but I do have something that I hope will.
Great. And I knew you would.
Yes, yeah. So one of my favorite prayers is called the Serenity Prayer. And it is, God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. The prayer is attributed to Reinhold Niebuhr. It's used extensively in 12-step programs. And you may be thinking, well, I'm not in a 12-step program. That's not a prayer for me, but it really is for anybody who suffers from any kind of addiction. And by addiction, I'm talking in the most general sense of when you lose something that's important to you, it causes you some deep distress. If that's the definition, then lots of us are addicted to comforts and to amusements and to all kinds of things. When they're taken away, it causes us some deep distress. So this is a prayer for all of us, especially in these times, especially, I think, that first part about accepting the things that we cannot change.
Right.
There is something really, really healthy about being able to accept realities that are difficult. And acceptance is a better response than, for instance, anger.
Yeah.
Or just being reactionary, taking something out on your friend or neighbor. To accept something is a recognition of a reality that is larger than yourself that you simply have no power over. And there's a French psychiatrist named Jacques Martel who has said, and I think it's absolutely true, that ultimately you cannot change anything that you do not first accept. And so as we are trying to change how we do life in our community in healthy ways, I think the first step, like this prayer says, is to accept the reality that has befallen us. And that doesn't mean to simply give up to it.
Right.
It simply means to have an attitude of, I acknowledge that this is my reality, and instead of reacting to it or pushing back or fighting it, I'm going to discover the second part of the prayer, which is to discover what it is that I can change in this circumstance. So none of us here can change the global pandemic,
Right.
but we all can do something to change our local reality. You know, and we're doing those things now. We're social distancing to love and protect our neighbors
Right.
and to protect ourselves.
Right.
And we're practicing hygiene that we didn't practice before because that is something that I can do.
Right.
We may make a face mask one day, or we may do other things that help us participate in this larger picture of a pandemic. We ultimately can't change the big thing, but instead of being frustrated and beating our heads against the wall about that, we think, what is it that I can do? The third part of the prayer is the wisdom to know the difference between what I can change and what I can't change. And that's just about your own peace of mind. And to acknowledge that some of this is bigger than we can possibly manage, and so we can only manage a piece of it. And that's what God will give us the grace to accomplish. And all of us have experience of this at other levels. We know, for instance, that we can't really change our spouse, even though we will spend years and years trying. You know, if you want them to squeeze the toothpaste at the end instead of the middle, you can try it till the cows come home.
Or
You're
turn
never
the
going to
toilet
change
paper.
them.
To turn the toilet paper so that it goes this
Yeah.
way instead of going
Yeah.
backwards, right?
Yeah, so knock yourself out, but you'll just never absolutely do that. I'm pretty sure nobody's ever going to change somebody else's opinion about our president. Whatever their opinion is, you're not going to change it no matter how blue in the face you get.
Right.
So why waste our energy trying to change the things that we cannot change? Instead, we pray for that wisdom to be able to change the things we can. And I close with the story.
Yeah, please.
It is a story about a teacher who asked his students one time, how does one know when a day has ended and a new day has begun? And his students were scratching their heads and thinking, and one raised his hand and says, you know that a new day has come when there's enough light to tell the difference between a pear tree and a fig tree. And the master nodded, and someone else raised their hand and said, I think you know that there's a new day that's come when you can tell the difference between a goat and a sheep. And then other students raised their hands, and they had all these different ideas. And finally, the master quieted his students and said, no, you know that a day has ended and a new day has dawned when there is enough light in your eyes to see that your brother and your sister are beloved even if they don't change. So, I hope our prayer today can be, God, give us this light, bring about this new day in our community in this difficult time that helps us distinguish between being a person who is self-centered and a person who recognizes the value in all these people around me, even if I can't touch them right now, even if I can't have close face-to-face contact with them, even if I can't have a meal with them, they are still beloved of God. And that's a change that God can bring about in my own heart and life right now.
That's awesome.
Wow, that's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow, Ken. That's great.
Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Good advice.
Very.
How about if we let people pray the prayer with me?
Let's do it.
Okay. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen.
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 Thank you, Ken.
Yes.
Okay, Lisa.
Well, it's hard to follow up after that now, Tom. Mine
Yeah, I don't
doesn't
know. How
look
do we-
quite as important. So,
It's all the little part that we
It's-
can do to change.
okay,
Yes.
you're
There you
right.
go.
So those folks that are feeling lonely out there right now, we have a little segment here that is fun facts about toilet paper.
Oh, yes.
Yes,
We were supposed to do this last week.
we were, and
Yeah.
I forgot it.
Yeah.
So, and this is provided by Barbara Harris, so thank you, Barbara, for giving this to us. So it's just some fun facts about toilet paper.
Okay, well, I'm
Okay.
excited. I know Ken's very excited about
I am
fun
very.
facts.
Okay, you ready? And I'm sure you might have some comments on these, so that's okay.
Okay.
Just,
Okay.
just chime in. The first one, the first recorded use of toilet paper was in 6th century China.
China.
Okay.
Interesting, China. Second one, packaged toilet paper wasn't sold in the United States until 1857.
1857. Wow.
That's because it grew on a corn cob before that.
There is some truth
There
to
is some
that,
truth
I think.
to that.
So,
Yes,
yeah,
yes. Now this one I found very interesting and never really thought of this. It wasn't until 1935 that a manufacturer was able to promise splinter-free toilet
Oh.
paper. Who thought?
I deeply prefer that, by the way.
I think we're happy they discovered a way to do that.
Nothing like
So-
having splinters in your toilet paper.
Because the other kind just wiped you out.
Yeah, oh,
Oh.
man. That was a crappy response, Ken. I'm telling
Oh my gosh. Okay, let's pull it back here. Americans use an average of 8.6 sheets of toilet paper per trip to the bathroom.
So how do you use a 0.6 sheet?
I don't know.
Very carefully.
I don't know.
Oh.
This one's really interesting too. 70 to 75% of the world still doesn't use toilet paper because it is too expensive or there is not sufficient plumbing.
Wow.
70 to 75%.
That's amazing.
This
It doesn't
is the origin
seem-
of hand washing.
Yeah, for sure. Right? Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Yep. Okay. In 1973, Johnny Carson caused a toilet paper shortage. He said as a joke that there was a shortage, which there wasn't, until everyone believed him and ran out to buy up the supply. It took 3 weeks for some stores to get more stock.
Wow.
Reminds me of today, but ours is a true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Exactly.
And it's a lot more than just toilet paper, too.
Well, it is. You're right. Now, I think a lot of you know that I was born and raised in Wisconsin, but I did not know this fact. There was a toilet paper museum in Wisconsin, the Madison Museum of Bathroom Tissue, but it closed in 2000.
Oh, bummer.
One of my favorite.
I never,
Yeah.
born and raised there, never heard of it. In 1996, President Clinton passed a toilet paper tax of 6 cents per roll, which is still in effect today.
Oh, wow.
Obama tried to triple that, but the House wouldn't pass it.
Okay.
So the
But-
more you go to the bathroom,
Crazy.
the more you're supporting your government.
There you go. That's
Yeah,
one way to
that's a
look at
positive way to look at it. That's great. Okay.
it. Is that how
let's
you're going
see.
to roll with this, huh?
So I'm going to roll with it.
Oh, now Tom, I think you were mentioning this one.
Oh, okay.
If you hang your toilet paper so you can pull it from the bottom,
Yeah.
you're considered more intelligent
Ah.
than someone who pulls it from the top.
Wow.
Wonder how this was determined.
I don't know. It's a good question. Not sure I want to know how it was determined.
I don't either. Okay, let's see. One last one.
All right. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. This is other things that were used before toilet paper.
Oh, boy. Here we go, Ken. I bet corn cobs are on there. What do you want to bet?
I bet so.
Okay, the first one. Hay. Hay
Hay.
was used.
Hey?
Hay.
Hey?
Uh-huh, hay.
Okay.
Hey, what are
Hey.
you doing in there for so long?
The next one is corn cobs.
Corn cob.
Corn cobs.
Ding,
Okay.
ding.
Corn cobs.
Not sure about this one. Sticks?
Well, you know, if you're out in nature and you don't have anything else, sticks and leaves, right?
I guess. Stones?
Oh,
Sticks and stones can break my
hiney bone.
bones.
Oh my gosh. Okay, this next one's just this next one's
Is
just
that how the
weird.
Rolling Stones got their name?
Oh my gosh.
Well, that Rolling Stone will gather no moss, I can tell you that.
This is going downhill.
Okay, it is.
Okay.
Rolling Stone.
Okay. Okay, next one. Sand. How do you use sand? for toilet paper.
True grit. Grit. Oh, my.
I've heard of sandblasters before, but that's... Oh, okay.
Okay.
We're getting a across the neck kind of thing from our...
Now remember, this came from Barbara Harris. This wasn't from Tom or I. So
Thank you, Barbara.
you're giving us a lot of amusement today. So
Well, if our show isn't canceled after today, then it won't ever be canceled.
I think we're getting a little punchy.
Yeah,
By
we are.
Thursday, it's getting a little rough.
Yep.
All right.
The
Lisa.
next one, wool.
Oh, you're going to do it?
Oh yeah, we got a couple more.
Okay, I thought you were done.
No, fruit peels.
Fruit peels. I like that. The orange scent.
I'm going to withhold any comments on that one.
I bet you're not lonely anymore out there. Just putting a shout out. If you were lonely before, you're not lonely now. We're giving you some entertainment
I don't
here.
know. They might have to turn the TV off by now.
They might have. Seashells.
Oh,
Well, when you're by the seashore.
And the last one, broken pottery. And it says, ouch.
Broken pottery.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. That gave us our laugh for the day.
Yeah.
Whew.
I think we've made
That was
enough-
rough.
We've made enough comments. That had a lot of splinters in it.
it did.
That was rough.
Okay. All right.
Whew.
Where do we go from there? How about birthdays for the day?
Okay, birthdays of the day. Celebrating today is Carol Mezzapelli,
Ah,
Phyllis Incinius,
okay.
and James Barrett. So happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday to all three.
Yes.
Matter of fact, I think I've got something from Phyllis for the joke for the day. So,
Did you? Oh, well, very cool.
Yeah.
So let's see. We do have a trivia winner.
Oh, we have one.
So let's see.
Okay.
The trivia question, what is the only country that spans 2 continents?
Drum roll.
And the answer is Turkey.
Woo.
Woo! It's in Europe and Asia. And the winner is Connie Churns. So congratulations, Connie. This will be heading your way.
Congratulations.
Very
That's
nice.
awesome. Okay, so
We
I
could
think
throw in a corn cob in there, too.
as long as it's not a used one, I guess.
Okay, moving along.
So the funny part is Cindy's actually here watching us, and she's like Cindy, I think Cindy's just about grossed out at this point. So
She's not into the potty
she's
humor.
not a potty humor kind
No,
of person.
she isn't.
So you know that. So actually, the joke of the day comes from Phyllis Incinius. So,
It's a birthday joke.
and she said she's enjoying how the river turns. Actually, I think,
nice. Thank you.
We don't say it enough. It's as the river churns.
Churns.
Right?
Yes.
We know that's a little hard. We keep the
Yes.
message we get, which by the way, we love the messages you all are sending,
Yes.
and we appreciate them. We may get a lot of messages today, but we just it's been a lot of fun doing this, quite honestly.
It has.
And as the river churns.
Yeah,
so,
remember your stomach churning when you're watching this. That's how you remember.
That's a great way to remember it. Thanks, Ken. So here's the joke. So 4 senior ladies were sitting at the bridge table, and one said, "Hey, Sadie, I understand you're getting married. Is he rich?" Sadie says, "No." "Is he handsome?" She says, "Nope." "Is he romantic?" She goes, "Nope." "Is he fun to be with?" She goes, "Nope." Her friend says, "Well, why in the world are you marrying him?" Sadie says, "Because he can drive at night."
It's good.
That's a good one. That's a
Remember
good
what's
one. We got a
That's a
thumbs
good
up.
one.
We got a thumbs up from our 2 people that are in the audience today. So,
Oh.
well, I think we're going to save. We have another one that's good too, but we'll save
We'll
that
save
one
it.
for the next time. So, but on behalf of Lisa and Ken and I, we just hope you have a great evening, and thanks for tuning in. And hopefully you had as much fun today as we did. Hopefully we didn't gross you out too much or go too far with our stuff. But we love you all very much, and have a great evening. Thanks for coming.